I understood what she was trying to do. It was not the classiest move.
I just really enjoyed listening to Georgia outside of the courtroom. Typically, we hear her talk in the trial or pre-trial stuff where there is a set level performance that you're putting on in order to convince either the judge or the jury of your argument. But with Georgia in her interview, I mean, she's very similar to how she is in the courtroom, but we're getting more of a kind of just like a laid back version of herself, you know, less competitive. And I think she does a really good job at balancing between being truthful and being respectful. And honestly, it just gives me like the no bullshit approach.
Opening statements right out of the gate, Jackie Fulford appropriated Professor Markel's nickname, calling him Danny. A lot of people were upset about that. Did that bother you?
Not as much as it bothered some other folks. I understood what she was trying to do. It was not the classiest move, and I think she kind of realized that and seemed to correct that over the course of the trial. But yeah, probably not a great move.
I don't know if she did actually, because I think she still referred to him as Danny, even in closing. Maybe in the middle of the trial, she might have referred to him as Dan Markel. But I know in the end, she started calling him Danny again.
She's a matriarch mastermind behind Danny being killed, and they don't have evidence of that. You can't be convinced that relocation was the issue where they were going to take Danny Markel's kids away from them.
Now, here's the thing. I think Jackie's approach could have worked if more people that were testifying were calling him Danny. I think because she was one of the few people to call him Danny, and it's like, well, you're not close to Dan Markel, so it seems weird for you to call him Danny as if you were, even though that's what he was called. I think it was weird that other witnesses would refer to him as Dan Markel, Professor Markel, Dan, and then you have this defense attorney here who's calling him Danny, Danny, Danny. And the only other person to call him Danny, I think, was Wendi. I don't think anyone else referred to him as Danny. Maybe the neighbor, I don't remember. But if we had a lot of other witnesses that referred to him as Danny, then when Jackie says it, it would seem more natural. But because it seems like she was the odd one out in calling him Danny, and Danny's a name that's like, you know, would show that you're really close to him. It did seem as if she was trying to be, a little manipulative with the jury. And it just seems like, like inappropriate to some people. So I can see that. But damn, Georgia calling her out. I honestly didn't mind when she explained it in opening statement, but towards the end of the trial, it really kind of stuck out like a sore thumb.
When you found out that Donna was not going to be testifying, something tells me you were probably salivating.
I don't know about salivating.
Were any of you guys salivating at the thought of Donna testifying out there? Just curious.
Yeah, it's not like I was gonna wow you guys with some amazing new stuff.
She's being so humble here. You wouldn't wow us, I guess, with new stuff, but the way that you would have cross-examined her would have been probably amazing. She's being really humble.
But I did put tons of preparation into that, so I was a little bit sad when I took my binder that had 110 tabs and packed it away. So yeah, I was a little surprised. She seems like somebody that would want to tell her story, but it gets trickier and trickier when all these stories are out there, and she would have had to navigate a lot of stuff to get up there.
Yep, because she's not the first trial. There's the two hitmen, their trial, then you have Katie, and then everyone turning on each other, and then you have Charlie. So it's like she has to kind of adopt the stories that they've kind of laid out so far, especially Charlie's, and then try to fit it into her defense. Donna really did it to herself because she fucked herself with the planner, first of all. She had a planner that was very detailed. Why didn't she burn it? She brought the phone that she used to try to get that, fast track extradition to Vietnam. Why didn't she get rid of that phone? Ma'am, you're rich. Go buy a new phone. Burn the device. Go to the military base and discard it in the trash.
So I do understand why she made the decision she did, and I think it was a smart one, but I was kind of expecting her to testify.
Georgia's going to comment. Ew. Georgia's going to comment on the Vietnam and how Donna said that no, she wasn't fleeing to go to Vietnam, that she wasn't trying to escape, possibly being arrested.
I think the fleeing to Vietnam didn't hurt. Especially since she denied it. She could have just said, yeah, I went to Vietnam. I didn't want to get arrested.
It's because she thought people were stupid. I don't know if Donna just has a hard time relating to normal people. I don't understand how her and Charlie really thought people were going to believe her, especially the Vietnam thing. Ma'am, extradition, one-way ticket, and then she had her friends come in, shamefully testify saying that she was just going on vacation. One-way ticket. Yeah, just going on vacation. And I understand sometimes when you do buy tickets, sometimes it is easier to buy one way and then maybe buy another one later on. I don't know. That's kind of a gamble to me. But for them to go up there and be like, yeah, she bought a one-way ticket. but no one addresses non-extradition. It wasn't like Donna was on the phone saying one-way ticket and that's it. Oh, it's cheaper. Oh, let's do a one-way ticket. We'll come back for, the bar mitzvah. She didn't say any of that. She was like in a panic. She was like, oh, it needs to be one-way, one-way ticket, extradition. Like, I need to go to a non-extradition country. Donna, if she threw away that phone, they probably wouldn't be able to recover those WhatsApp messages. Because they had that phone, they were able to get the WhatsApp messages, and oh boy.
But she didn't do that. She oversold. So
Now, that wasn't the only thing that I thought was really strange for the defense to deny. There was also the contentious divorce. Remember, I think it was Jackie's own cross-examination of Wendi Adelson where she was like, hey, was it a contentious divorce? And Wendi said yes. I think it was through Jackie. It's almost as if they had a very rigid defense strategy that they weren't willing to pivot a little bit, because once Wendi said the divorce was contentious, for the defense team to bring up these witnesses to testify that it wasn't contentious, especially the expert that got destroyed on the stand by Georgia Cappleman, it was just really weird to me. And even in closing, when they were trying to still convince the people that, oh, it wasn't a contentious divorce. But it's like, hello, did you forget Wendy's cross-examination where she said it was contentious and she's the one who actually went through it? There was the bribery thing with Jackie trying to say that, oh, Donna wasn't bribing Dan Markel with $1 million. It was just an incentive. Well, in Donna's own emails, she said bribe. She said bribery. I don't know. I don't know if the defense team was just hoping the jury would just let some of these details go over their head or the audience or what, but it was, it was quite strange to me. I don't know. Was it strange to you guys, or am I just being a little too pedantic and nitpicky here? We need to hop on to a different footage for the next question because it's hard to hear in the YouTube video.
Will this be the last prosecution?
Will this be the last prosecution? Okay. So everyone's wondering, is Wendi going to be next? Are you going to go after Wendi? What's going to happen here?
you are asking the question. Why are you that guy?
All right. So for those of us that thought that maybe Georgia will comment on Wendi, you'll be disappointed. She doesn't. And maybe because it's an active investigation, maybe they're deciding on what they're going to do with Wendi. Maybe they are not going to pursue anything at all.
When do you have reason to be worried tonight?
You said that word. That's a bad word. No W questions.
Worry's a bad word.
Well, last time.
Should we say stay
worry.
tuned? Do we need to stay tuned?
I mean, you can stay tuned.
All right. Wendi's a bad word, and y'all just have to stay tuned for Wendi.
Surprised by the defense strategy of throwing Wendi and Charlie under the bus.
Maybe that's why Donna decided to not testify, or one of the many reasons is because she wasn't ready to really put her own children under the bus out of her own words, although she was doing it through her attorneys, because her attorneys were saying that Wendi was the one that wanted to have Dan Markel murdered. Or if anyone that looks guilty, it might be Wendi, not Donna. And that it was Charlie that paid the hitman. It was Charlie that told Donna to write those checks out. And maybe it was Harvey that wrote those emails, not Donna. Oh, and do we blame the grandchildren for anything? Or I guess Wendi blamed her children for breaking the TV.
And was the adoptive admissions ruling something that you pre-planned or something that you all came up with at the last moment?
We had a few incarnations of how to deal with the fact that she had adopted Charlie's really ridiculous story previously, and we didn't want her to be able to distance herself from that and create a new, better defense, which she did seem to kind of try to be doing.
Yep. So with Charlie's defense, it was, this is double extortion. Katie was being told by the baby daddy she needed to get Charlie's money or else. So she went to Charlie, was like, hey, Charlie, my baby daddy just murdered the man that is ruining y'all's lives. And he's telling me that if you don't give us the money, then I'm going to have to say that, like, oh, go to the police and say that, like, oh, like they hired us for all this. But I think Charlie's defense to kind of like protect himself from all the text messages between him and Katie, because remember, afterwards, there was like text messages between him and Katie, like, hey, how was the pool? Hey, how are you doing? Oh my God, I love you, and all that stuff, right? Like, let me help you out. He was trying to say that, oh, Katie was also being extorted and that Katie was, on my side. He didn't realize that Katie was actually in on it the entire time. Even though, isn't it fucking weird that Katie would be back in a relationship with Sigfredo and Charlie was trying to buy Sigfredo a birthday gift? Why? It just doesn't make sense, right? So that's why Georgia Cappleman is just baffling at Charlie's defense. So not only did Donna try to adopt Charlie's defense, I really thought she was gonna be like, it's all Charlie, like he did everything. And screw the double extortion thing. That thing is all bullshit. No, Donna tried to say that, like, okay, Charlie's extortion was true. And not only that, I didn't know about it until afterwards because he confessed to me 2 months, or I think it was like 2-3 months after Dan Markel was murdered, that he was being extorted. And that's why in September, I was writing these checks to Katie. It's because I was trying to help Charlie out. Like all these people are just, oh my goodness. I don't know. Donna should just throw everyone under the bus. Just be like, you know what, fucking Wendi, Charlie, give me a plea deal. Although I don't know if they're going to ever give her a plea deal though, because they already had Charlie at that point. And I don't know if Wendy's really a high priority for the state. George is like, yeah, ridiculous defense.
And create a new, better defense, which she did seem to kind of try to be doing. So we did want to try to shove that on her and then, try to explain that to the jury. Okay, here's this whole other defense that she already adopted, and it's complicated and it has all its pushback that goes with it. So it did feel like a difficult minefield to wade through to be able to explain all that to the jury, but we wanted to make sure they understood that, hey, she's already committed to this defense that's a loser. And now she's trying to switch it up and go to this whole other place, and you got to pick a lane. It can't be both.
And I'm so glad that she's so good at explaining everything, because her and Sarah Dugan, they were able to explain everyone's role in it, the lies, and then expose them for their lies. Because this was just like it was just like tangle web of like bullshit that for me, it would be so hard for me to explain to someone that's completely new to this case in, I don't know, an hour, 2 hours, how everything went down. I'm so glad that they had those graphics up there. They had the pictures of the people. They had the 2 roads that led to Donna Adelson. So no matter which road law enforcement took, it was either following the Prius or motive, people that hated Dan Markel. It all led to Donna Adelson. And I think they did such a good job explaining that. Oh my gosh. I wish I could be masterful in explaining shit like that to people.
This time around, no one called him to the stand. Why?
This is for Charlie.
Because we didn't want to tangle with him unless we had to, and we felt like we were able to successfully get out the story that he told at his trial and marry Donna to it as much as we needed to without having to.
I feel like Charlie would love that. Marry my mom to my story. I mean, look at how much he loved his mom and was willing to do anything for his mom. Whew. Great choice of a phrase there.
And marry Donna to it as much as we needed to without having to wrangle and tangle with him.
They were able to tell the jury that, hey, Charlie has been convicted. And through other people's testimony, for example, Katie McBanois, she was able to get a lot of the extortion story from Charlie without really having the state having Charlie to come in and testify. So Katie was a pretty huge, big deal here to have Katie come in and say that like, hey, Charlie approached me. Do you know someone that could hurt someone? And then later on that progressed to, hey, murdering someone, right? And how Charlie was putting pressure on me because his mom, his family were really stressed out with Dan Markel. Everything that happened afterwards with, the dropping off the money, with sleeping over at his house, and him paying for her boob job and the checks and all that stuff. They were able to get that through other people's testimonies. There was also the financial person as well who looked through the accounts of the hitman and then also Katie, right? Where they're like, hey, this is like a lot of money. This is a lot of money that came in after Dan Markel's murder. And well, you could see here that Katie got a breast augmentation, that Katie got this Lexus from Harvey, but it seems like she never actually paid them any money. And it seems like she got it for free. They were able to get other people's testimonies to really put in the story together for like Charlie's role in it. It was pretty cool for them to be able to get all this in about Charlie without having Charlie come in and testify. Because when Charlie testified, he would just feed them the bullshit, right? The double extortion thing. And honestly, it would have been fun for us to watch it again. But for the jury, it might just be like, okay, like this might be a waste of my time.
I think I just feel kind of honored to be able to deliver this win for the Markels. We've heard so much about a win for the Adelsons, and everything that was lost in those efforts.
When Georgia's talking about the win for the Adelsons, I genuinely was thinking, what win is she talking about? I guess if you think about it from a very zoomed out point of perspective, Dan Markel died. Wendi and the grandchildren were able to move to South Florida. Maybe they had a year and a half worth of peace, although I feel like if you just pulled off a murder for hire, you'd probably be stressing about it for a little bit. Maybe, the Adelsons being a little psychotic that they are, maybe they weren't stressing over it. And the fact that they weren't prosecuted expeditiously. It was the hitman first, then it was Katie, and then Charlie was finally arrested in 2022. From the losses, if you're looking at the ledger between win and losses for the Adelson, let's look at the losses because Charlie, he lost his trial. He was convicted. Wendi testified against Charlie. Wendi also seemed to be distancing herself from her family members. Remember when Donna was crying about how Wendi didn't care, that the brother sacrificed himself for her, and that Donna just wanted to talk to Wendi, and Wendi seemed to be kind of pushing her off. And then you have the loss of Donna being arrested. Donna being shipped from South Florida to Tallahassee, which she probably hates. Then there was Donna's trial. Dan Rashbaum was representing her. However, Charlie, on the day of jury selection, was like, hey, I never waived my right for the conflict of interest. So Dan Rashbaum was unable to represent Donna. And then she lost the other attorney. Oh, gosh. And then not only that, she tried to have the wiretap suppressed, and that would have been a huge win for her. There is also for her to try to preclude the travel as a consciousness of guilt. They wanted to have that out in the trial. She tried to dismiss the case at some point, and then not only that, she wanted to have the judge removed from this case, Mr. Judge Steve Everett. And then she also lost for the motion for a new venue. I think Georgia mentioned that Donna wanted to be tried in Miami instead of Tallahassee.
Imagine a planet on which we move this case to Miami, which seems to be suggested by the defense.
I guess technically Donna did get a win for the motion to continue. The trial was supposed to happen in June and they got pushed back till September. For me, when I'm looking at it, it's just lots of losses for the Adelson, and especially now. But I guess initially the Adelsons were sort of winning but look at the punishment. Look at everything that they had to go through, and their families just torn apart. In this trial, one of the major evidence that they used against Donna Adelson was her own planner, her own cell phone.
Which has been an aha moment?
Yeah, kind of dumb luck. I mean, that thing is so dense, and there's a bunch of them, so we've just been sort of perusing them, and yeah, somebody just stumbled upon it and had an aha moment.
What about Rob Adelson's testimony? How key was that?
I think it was important, didn't you? I mean, I thought he was so genuine, and what a guy to be able to do that. You know, I mean, what a terrible situation for him to be put in, and to be able to rise above that and do the right thing. It's really impressive.
Did you all
Such a good answer. Oh my goodness. Because there are so many family members out there that are willing to lie for their family members. Like, look at Donna Adelson's friends, right? They came in, they testified, and they tried to make it seem like she was such a normal Jewish grandmother. What a great person she is, you know, like, oh, we're just like laughing and like talking about going to Vietnam and all that stuff. Like, look at what they were willing to testify to. And then when we have someone like Rob Adelson, who's like, hey, you know, she's my mom, she's raised me, this is my family members are slowly going to jail, and he just goes up there, and when he's testifying, it seems like he is speaking from the truth. And it has to hurt to do that, to testify against your family members. But I would say that's a prime example of a good person.
Put in, and to be able to rise above that and do the right thing, it's really impressive.
Did you all wait for this trial to put him on? Why did he not testify previously?
I just didn't want to do it to him unless I felt like it was absolutely necessary, and I really felt like we needed him in this one.
Mm-hmm. Georgia does.
Yeah, because they used a lot of Rob Adelson's words against the weird shit that Wendi was doing, and then also against Donna as well, how Donna was just not curious at all who did this. You know, he's basically like the inside man, because Wendi, you know, even though Wendi is like sort of throwing her mom under the bus, she was like kind of not. She was kind of lying for her mom there, in my opinion. Charlie, you know, you don't know what the hell he's going to testify to if they ever called him. Harvey, ain't gonna happen. So for them to have someone who has like inside knowledge of like the family dynamics, and then also what was going on after Dan Marquette was murdered, I think Rob Adelson's testimony was like really good. And I'm glad that the state was able to refer back to that so many times during closing.
Rob Adelson's testimony that his mother hated Dan Markell. Rob Adelson also noted a complete lack of curiosity on the part of his mother about this murder in the family. Rob described her. She has rigid and fixed ideas of what she wants, and as long as you comply, things are fine.
I thought this little bit was interesting. Maybe there are people out there that reached out to Georgia, or these are people that are maybe adjacent to the state's attorney's office.
The demonstratives seem to be up a notch from before.
Yes, that's because I didn't make them. I only directed. I did get some wonderful volunteer help, so I don't know if she wants a shout out or not, but.
How significant was to have that note from Drina Bernhardt?
Oh man, I thought it was great.
Donna, the smart way to do it is to, if you're really going to bribe someone, right, do it verbally. Make sure there's no way for them to track it back to you, because it's always going to be your words against their words, right? And if the jury hears someone testifying, and, you know, they've had previous, you know, convictions in the past, and they've lied before, and then they come and testify, it's like your word against theirs, and it's like, okay, well, I don't really know who to believe, maybe, right? Unless they're very, like, convincing. But with Drina's testimony, we had the handwritten notes that Donna wrote, and then she didn't deny that she wrote them. Oh my goodness, Donna.
Note from Drina Bernhardt.
Oh man, I thought it was great. I thought it was. When she showed up with that, it was like Christmas Day.
Felt like this trial, you did mention Wendi's name more. Was that just because of who the defendant was, or is there a strategy behind more evidence against Wendi coming out?
I think it was because of who the defendant was and how important the motive was to establish, which largely arose from the communications between Donna and Wendi. So yeah, Wendi ended up more in the mix.
You say a little bit about the boys. I could feel the emotion. It seemed like it really resonated with the jury when you talked about.
Oh gosh, yeah. Yeah, there's no justice for them, and I haven't done them any favors today, and I lose sleep over that fact. It's tough. I know that. Yeah, the family's just been totally destroyed, and I hate that, you know. And sometimes it feels a little bit like being a part of it, you know. So, yeah.
Yeah, it sucks that she feels the way. Like, I get where she's coming from, because now the Adelson family, I mean, they're kind of in ruins. You know, imagine that you moved to South Florida and you built this whole life there, right? If you're like the boys, you build your whole entire life there, right? Your grandmother is helping raise you. Grandfather's probably really involved. Uncle Charlie's probably really involved. You know, mom is there, and you make friends throughout like elementary school, middle school. But then now, you know, Uncle Charlie, bye-bye, right? Donna, the grandmother, incarcerated. I'm not even sure if Wendi even wants to keep in touch with Harvey, just in case Harvey might say something or might involve her in somehow and bring her back into this shit. So I don't know if Wendy's just taking precaution, just cutting out all the family members just in case, right? Because the family members are the ones that got themselves in this trouble because they were calling each other. They were texting each other. They're just doing all this crazy shit that really incriminated them. So it's like, I would hate to have to lose all my friends, lose my family members. I think she moved to Texas, and then someone said that now they're like in, I don't know, in a new state or something like that. So I know this is all tough. You're losing all your family members, and then you don't know if your mom's going to be next because, you know, it's going to be hard to avoid social media. These boys are, I think they're like teens now, like early teens. Like I think one's like maybe 13, 15, something like that. I don't know. That's tough. That's a lot of stress that you're dealing with. And then you're probably, you know, navigating with being in high school. High school can be pretty tough. You're thinking about, you know, college and stuff like that. But then now it's like family, bye-bye. Mom, I don't know what's going to happen to her. What if she gets arrested too? What if she also gets taken away? And yes, they do have family on the Markel side, but they're not particularly very close to them, I'm assuming, because, you know, the Adelsons have really blocked the Markel's access to the grandchildren. I think it's a little bit better now because of the law that was put in place, but it's in Florida. So I don't know. Now they're in like Colorado. I don't know how that works. But yeah, I don't know. It's just really sad for the kids. Wendy seems like the type to already have someone looking after her. Yeah. Or maybe after this, Wendy learned how to gain complete and total independence instead of having her family take control of her life and telling her what to do. You know, it has been 10 plus years and maybe things are different now. I don't know. It's really hard to, when you've grown up in a system that forces you to comply and to be controlled, it's really hard to grapple out of that even as an adult. Because to me, I look at Wendy and I'm like, what the fuck, Wendy? You're a fucking adult. How did you let your family rule your life like this? But I have seen this happen to people in my personal life where they will have a very domineering, controlling mother. And even as an adult, it's really hard for them to kind of like get out of that grasp. Yeah, that's a really tough thing to deal with. Because, man, because these people that are domineering, controlling, like manipulation is a key thing. And they know how to manipulate their children. And not that I'm, you know, putting all the blame on to Donna. Like Wendy certainly has a role in it as well. But, you know, maybe she's learned how to stand up to Donna and Charlie, you know, within the past 10 years and really take control of her own life. On the live stream, we did cover the entire interview. So I'll link it below if you guys want to watch that. We also covered one of the jurors' reaction. She was a jury 4 person on the case. Now, there's a new juror that has spoken out, so I guess I'll put out this video first, and then let me go check out the other jury interview. All right, guys, enjoy this video. Thank you so much for watching. You guys are new here. Feel free to subscribe. We'd love to have you guys come back, say hello, stop by the live streams, and I will see you guys on a different day. We do cover other cases as well. We got Koberger stuff that I need to catch up on. Lexi Treviso, new update with the Supreme Court arguments, and Corey Richins. We'll see what's up with her. All right, y'all. Have a good one.